So this is something a lot of people don't realize about the spiritual journey. When you go through awakening, it's exciting, it's new, you dissolved one identity and you move into a new identity. This is the spiritual identity. This is not the end all be all. This is not the goal. You didn't come here to be some spiritual person, teacher, guru, healer, all of that. That's the spiritual identity. And at some point on your journey, you end up going through a spiritual initiation. And what this initiation does is it dissolves the spiritual identity. And what's revealed is the truth of why you came here. The spiritual awakening journey was only ever meant to bring awareness to higher perspectives, a new way of seeing, understanding that there's something beyond the veil. It was about becoming aware, bringing light to something that didn't exist before. But this is not the end all goal. If you see it as that, then you're going to be stuck in seeking. The goal is to actually dissolve the spiritual identity, come back to being human, come back to being your true self. But this time, you have more awareness, you have more intentionality, you have more integrity, more discernment, and you get to consciously create from this place. You get to be a conscious creator. Whereas in your previous life, before your spiritual awakening, you were an unconscious creator. Most everything you were doing, you were not aware of. You were just operating and running on autopilot, right? And so when we go through awakening, it breaks that spell. But then a spiritual initiation brings it all back in, and you actually do a full circle. When you've completed your initiation, all you want to do is go back to being normal. You just want to have a normal life. You don't want all of this perfection and purity and all this seeking and all of these like rules that you need that are like clumped into spirituality. You just want to be normal. And it's great that you want to be normal because now you're sitting in the conscious creator seat. This whole spiritual journey and this whole spiritual awakening process and this spiritual identity that you've created is not the end goal. The end goal was always to find the truth of who you were, and the spiritual identity, the spiritual ego, the spiritual awakening process was actually to help you peel back the layers so that you could get clear on what the truth of you is. And this is when initiation really begins, is when you can then dissolve and let go of the spiritual identity so that you can fully step into the truth of who you were here to be. And you can let go of all the spiritual shit. You can let it all go and just be authentically who you want to be, express the ways you want to express, create the way you want to create. It's just more conscious, intentional, and full of integrity and discernment now. End of story.